Alright, today's lesson is over congruent triangles. So what I have here are just a couple examples of different triangles. Some of you may be familiar with the center one. This is the Triforce. This is actually from a game called The Legend of Zelda, where you play as Link and you save Zelda. So some of you may be more familiar with the newer ones, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, but if you take a look at this triangle here, and this triangle here, and this triangle here are all congruent triangles. You could also look at the interior triangle and see if it's congruent or not. This triangle right here, you may know that from Harry Potter, right? And this is a triangle in the music sense when you think of if you're in band or orchestra, okay? So this is the music version of a triangle. So these are just some fun stuff. You know, remember occasionally I throw in fun stuff and ask you to recall these things. I might ask you what game was the Triforce from, and you'd say Zelda or Legend of Zelda. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Alright, some vocabulary words. Corresponding angles and corresponding sides. When I talk about two triangles being congruent, they have corresponding angles and sides. So for example, this triangle has the angle D and angle A are congruent. Angle E and angle B are congruent. I can tell because this is my second angle. And then the third angle F and G are congruent. So in this case, I would say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. That being said, I also have three pairs of corresponding sides. DE corresponds to AB, EF corresponds to BC, and DF corresponds to AC. Alright, so naming is very important. In that last picture I said ABC is congruent to DEF. Notice it's not the same thing as saying triangle DFE. And the reason for that is you're saying that angle A is congruent to angle D. That is true. Then you're saying that angle B is congruent to angle E. That is true. And last but not least, that angle C is congruent to angle F. Okay? That's very important that the order is correct. Alright, so given that triangle ABC is congruent to DEF, I'm reading this up here, find DE and the measure of angle B. So DE corresponds to line AB. So taking a look, AB is 2.6, so then doesn't DE also have to be 2.6? That would be the corresponding side since the triangles are congruent. Also, angle B, so I'm going to erase this, angle B corresponds to angle E, and angle E is 65 degrees, so the measure of angle B must be 65 degrees. So the way we name things is very important. So take a look here. If I have triangle RGK is congruent to triangle MQB, RG is going to be one of the corresponding sides to MQ. And then we have GK, whoops, I don't know what happened there, GK and QB. And then we have RK and MB. Okay, the last one is RK and MB. Same location, same order. Alright, then we also talk about angles. Angle R is congruent to angle M. Angle G is congruent to angle Q. Oops, should be doing my little congruent symbol here. And angle K is congruent to angle B. Alright, so if polygon LMNP is congruent to polygon EFGH, identify all pairs of corresponding congruent parts. That means sides and angles. So you have sides here, okay, and then you'll have angles here. Alright, so first off, the first side, let's say LM and EF. Okay. Then I have MN and FG. Okay, I gotta be careful. My L looks like an angle there. L. There we go. And then NP and GH. But this is a polygon with 4 angles and 4 sides, so we need also LP, the first and last, which is congruent to EH. Alright, now for the angles, it's much less work. Angle L is congruent to angle E. Angle M is congruent to angle F. Angle N is congruent to angle G. And angle P is congruent to angle H. 4 pairs of sides and 4 pairs of angles because this is a quadrilateral. If it was a triangle, we would have 3 pairs of corresponding sides and 3 pairs of corresponding angles. Alright, so a student claims that any 2 congruent triangles must have the same perimeter. Do you agree or disagree, and state why? Okay, if I have 2 congruent triangles, okay, let's see, like this and like this. So saying this is 2, 4, and 8, because this triangle is congruent to this one, it must also be 2, 4, and 8. Now perimeter is when I add up all the sides. Since all the sides are the same, the perimeter is going to add up to be the same. So we agree, since the corresponding sides are congruent, the sum of the sides, or my perimeter, must be the same for both triangles. Take a minute, jot this down, pause if you need to. Alright, I want you to give it a shot. Go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to do question 1 and question 2. Remember, look for exactly what we're looking for and what type of triangle, how the order is. Okay, so give it a shot. Alright, so taking a look here, line AB is congruent to DE. Therefore, since DE is 3.5 millimeters, so must AB. ABB as well. Alright, the measure of angle E is congruent to the measure of angle B. Since B is a right angle, then the measure of angle E is 90 degrees. Alright, so since line NP corresponds to line RS, they're congruent. So NP has to be the same length of RS, which is 11.8 meters. The measure of angle P is congruent to the measure of angle S. Since S is 42 degrees, angle P is 42 degrees. It's very important to put your notations. Notice that we put millimeters here and meters here. You're using whatever was in the problem to begin with, okay? This is very important to make sure that you have your correct units. I will be looking for this on quizzes and tests. Alright, I want you to give number 5 a shot. Don't worry about 6 and 7. We will do those later. Alright, so what you see here are the corresponding sides and the corresponding angles. Remember, it's all about the placement. Angle J corresponds to angle G because they're both the first letter in their names. Okay, line WT corresponds to line KH because that's the second and third letter in their names. That's very important about the order and about where the placement of the letters is. Alright, now on this problem, we're not going to do this today. We'll finish this up in class, but what I want to talk to you about is the pentagon ABCDE. Okay? And it talks about pentagon PQRST, which is another home plate that they are congruent. Okay, all home plates need to be of the same size. So what you would do is I would write PQRST directly above ABCDE so that you see which letter corresponds to which. So A and P correspond, B and Q, C and R, S and D, T and E. Okay, so we will polish this up in class. Feel free to go ahead and finish it if you'd like. Talk to you later.